Good evening, welcome to the Goffstown Planning Board. This is our regular scheduled first Thursday of the month meeting, and we will begin with a Pledge of Allegiance. Kimberly, would you please lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Joanne, we have two regular members that are not attending, Barbara and Richard Freeman.
Correct.
Thank you. David, you'll be voting on all matters tonight. Correspondence and action items, we will handle that at the end of the meeting. Rules and procedures.
Don't we usually go around and say our names? Do we?
Pardon me?
Do we usually go around and say our names?
Yeah, we will.
Yeah. Dave Gears, I'm an alternate member.
Tim Searles.
Kimberly Pease.
Tim Redmond.
Scott Ozana, Town Engineer.
Joshua Douglas, Select Board Rep.
Philip Devanza.
Joanne Duffy, Planning and Economic Development.
Thank you, everyone. We have no old business tonight, Joanne?
No old business.
All right, so our first application is new business 2962. Could you, I'm going to ask if anybody knows how we do this. Barbara has generally handled the motion before anything can really be said. We need to know if this is complete and ready for review. So is it, Joanne?
So your packet, your staff report says that it is not complete, but the applicant did provide architectural renderings and a drainage study after this was written. So it is complete, and they are asking for 3 waivers.
Is there a regional impact?
So I need
There's
a
no
motion from someone stating those facts.
I make a motion that the application is complete and has no regional impact and has waivers will be reviewed tonight just for completeness. Is that what we say, right?
For completeness only.
Yes, okay.
How many, Joanne? 3?
3.
And Phil seconded.
Yes, second.
And if I could just add one other thing that's not included in the staff report. This particular property is located in the RSB 01 zone. And as such, it has a separate section in the zoning ordinance under 5.20 for residential small business office
Could we
1.
talk about that after we vote on the motion, Joanne?
Okay, sure.
Thank you. So there's a motion to find this is ready to review, complete, no regional impact, and has 3 waivers for discussion only. Been motioned and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes. Joanne, please.
Okay, so the owner would like to add a residential duplex to the back portion of the property. There would be a building that would have 2 separate units connected. You know, it's a typical duplex with a garage under on each side. And so it's considered a multifamily project, so that's why they're here tonight for a site plan. They did need a variance from the Zoning Board of Adjustment, which was granted on 5/5/26 to allow for the multifamily. Now, there's a section in the zoning ordinance that covers residential small business office 1, and there are a few items that are required because this area covers basically like the village area and up North Mass Road. So they have a few other things that the board will need to take into consideration. One is the design of the building. So now we have the architectural plans, so you can take a look at those and make sure that they adhere to the requirements of that particular zone as far as the scale and the visual effects. They also suggest that the buildings be in similar size as far as footprint, height, and bulk. The structure does meet the height requirement. It's just a little bit under 35 feet. And then there's another requirement that the board cannot vote on this they have to wait 45 days after the application is found complete because he'll need to go to the Historic District Commission and have them weigh in on it to make sure that they're accepting the design and how it would fit in with the neighborhood. And then it would come back to this board for a final vote.
So are you saying we're going to entertain it tonight, or do we have to wait?
I think you should hear it and go through the waivers. You just won't be able to take a vote on it until August 13th. That's the 45
Won't
day.
be able to take a vote on any of the waivers?
I think you can vote on the waivers, just not the final.
I think we'll hold a vote on any waiver until the final.
Okay, that's fine.
Question, where are the prints?
Excuse me?
Are these the prints, which,
They're on the top here,
the small one?
the small one with the
It's
house.
the architectural
Yeah.
and then the
And
one
these just
below
came
it's the
today?
site plan.
No, they came in a few days ago.
So even though they weren't delivered on time to be in our packet, you're proposing that we hear this tonight?
Yes, because what they provided to us, I don't know if it's underneath here.
I think there's a-
What they provided to us in our packet was a site plan with a little drawing off to the side with the house on there, with the duplex on there. And it didn't have the height. We were mostly concerned about the height of the building being less than 35 feet or less. And so then they dropped these plans off the other day. So they had, the whole packet is here.
So was that the only item that was missing?
No, so, let me go back to my report here. So the architectural renderings are part of the completeness checklist, so that's why I initially said they were not complete. They also submitted a drainage study. Unfortunately, they're only showing the 25-year storm. They need to also provide information on the 50 and the 100-year. TF Moran is currently working on those plans. There was a death in the family of the person who was designing the drainage study, so it got held up. So we do have a drainage study, we just don't have the final drainage study. And the owner of record is incorrect, but that's just a minor thing. So those are the things that were not included, but they're also asking for waivers. So they're asking for a waiver for completeness only for the drainage study and a landscaping plan, which they have not submitted. And then the third is a fire truck turnaround, which there's a requirement for driveways that are backing out into the main roads where they have to have the road, the driveway has to be built to NFPA standards for a fire truck, and they need to have a turnaround. We saw this before in some other buildings in town, some other multifamilies or duplex buildings in town, where they have short driveways and there's really no room for a turnaround, or there's not enough width for a 16-foot driveway, so the board has granted waivers on that. They also need a conditional use permit, which the criteria is listed in the staff report as well as their answers. And then the staff comments follow after that. Mike Dahlberg is here from TF Moran to present the plans.
Joanne, does this zone have a maximum impervious surface area that's allowed in this zone, or required to be
20.
under a certain number?
25%.
And does this exceed 25%?
Less than 25%. So I think,
That's hard to look at. It's hard to look at a plan that has an existing home, has a duplex to go on it, and then has this massive driveway, and to tell me
the
that...
driveway doesn't count, it's only the buildings.
No, driveways are impervious surface.
I know, but our regulations don't require it for impervious surface, only for building coverage for some reason. That's how it's worded.
You've been looking at these for ages, Scott. Have you always...
It says it on the top of the chart.
If it was like that,
Is it zoning or?
It's the chart, it's under 4.1, I think, in the zoning ordinance.
man, this
It's the chart where it says the setbacks and everything, it's in that same chart. I thought it was strange too, but that's how it is, how it's been for a long time.
I'm gonna take your word for it after Scott looks it up. We need to change our we need to amend
Well,
our
this is
development
the-
regulations.
This is the zoning ordinance, that would be the,
Oh, that's a town vote, yep.
yeah.
So look at the top and then go over towards the right where it says,
Maximum building
Yeah.
coverage, so that's
It-
what it says.
Is it because of this, of the RSBO one?
no, it's for all
No,
of
pretty
them.
much all of the residential ones are 25, except ag and conservation are less.
Oh.
And then commercials increased.
But they all say building coverage, not,
Yeah, maximum building
not
coverage.
impervious surface.
Okay. That's what it says. Thank you.
Do you want to take note of possibly visiting that when we
Well,
go to changing?
I would put a note that
Yeah.
we should look at it when
I'll make a
zoning
note.
comes around next year.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions for staff? Scott, do you have any kind of comments at this point, or would you like to withhold
The
them
only
until?
one that she didn't highlight that I wanted to point out to this group is comment. Oh, let me look in the packet what number it would be. Looks like 6 in the planning comments. So, no, that's the planning department comments. So comment number 3 on page 6. South Mass Street is arterial road, is categorized as an arterial road in the development regulations, or in the zoning. It's categorized in the development regulations, although in the zoning ordinance, it specifies that a 100-foot separation is required between driveways on arterial roads. The existing driveway is 62 feet from the nearest driveway, and the proposal pushes it closer to that driveway at approximately 38 feet. But those are all approximated because the neighbor's driveway is gravel, and it's hard to discern where the gravel and the grass ends because they kind of just drive all over the place, it looks like. So as far as I'm concerned, where the driveway's proposed, since they're making a non-conforming issue even more non-conforming, they would need a conditional use permit, I believe, for that one. I believe that's... I should have wrote that in the comment, what it requires. So I just wanted to point that out.
We can you can check on it while we're meeting if you like, and you can report to us so we don't hold things up any longer.
Okay, yeah.
Do you mind?
No, I don't mind, that's fine. I just wanted to bring that to the attention of everyone. Have it move my tabs over from the old version to the new one.
All right. Any other questions for staff from board members? So Joanne, is tonight sort of it's not actual conceptual, but we're just gonna hear it from the applicant, and we're gonna wait until after they meet with the Historic Commission, and then revisit it at a subsequent meeting?
And I think there are butters here, so you may as well
Yeah,
have
that's
them
fine, we'll
too.
have a public hearing. Okay, board members, everybody good?
Yep.
Could the applicant please come up and give their presentation?
Well, that is certainly a handful. And to answer the question, Tim, we're at 15.56% building coverage of the lot.
15%? Okay, thank you.
So there's a lot going on, and there is the RSB 01 district.
Hang on, I think you need to state your name for the record.
Mike Dahlberg,
Thank you.
Chief Marine Engineers and Surveyors. I went through, I got an email from Joanne this afternoon regarding the RSB 01 particulars, which in this zone encourages the continued use of historically or architecturally important buildings and those that contribute to the character of the district and to discourage their demolition and removal. All right, fine enough. We're not going to tear down the existing house, although it wouldn't be a shock if somebody did. In pretty rough shape. 5.20.1.3 assure that new buildings are designed and built in a manner compatible with the character of the district in terms of scale and visual effect.
Hang on, Mike, are you doing the conditional use permit right now?
No,
Okay,
I'm
good.
talking about the underlying zone,
Okay, thank you, sorry.
basically for the abutters and the people at home that are concerned. In 5.20.2, any new building or addition to an existing building to be of similar size, and I make note of the term similar, and footprint, height, and bulk, fenestration, roof style to adjacent buildings. So similar is not defined in the ordinance. So I have gone to Webster's Collegiate Dictionary. Similar is defined as things that resemble each other or share common characteristics without being exactly the same or having characteristics in common. So that would be a structure that has a pitched roof, it has windows. Fenestration is the placement of windows in the structure, by the way. And it says where there will, Joanne already went over the 45-day thing with the Historic District Commission. We don't have a problem with that. So we did get a variance to have a detached two-family structure. We have gone through the drainage. Initially, the PE had just done 25-year storm and not the 50 and 100. Those are now complete. He had a death in the family. His mother-in-law passed suddenly. And he wasn't able to finish that before the submittal deadline, as well as the architecturals. We did have that little architectural that we had included in the lower left corner of, I think, sheet 2, and staff said that wasn't adequate. We were able to get the full design, which you have and you can review later. I don't think we need to do that tonight. But the drainage study has been completed, and the stormwater infiltration basins have been designed to meet the 50 and the 100-year storms. And Scott can review that after I get the plans to his office. The waivers we're asking for, landscape plan. 3 sides of this property are already heavily landscaped. And the front yard of this property is also, between the house and the existing driveway, is relatively heavily landscaped. And a majority of the east side of the property and the south side of the property is now going to be taken up by stormwater management. I don't know how much landscaping is going to be able to be had on site. And the way the site has been graded is that shouldn't have to cut any trees other than there's one little tree where the new driveway is supposed to go. But that's basically it, and those peach trees and apple trees will be relocated. I don't know if they'll be relocated on site, but I don't think they're going to tear them down and get rid of them totally. So we're only asking for the waivers for the drainage for acceptance for tonight. We're going to submit that. We have the architectural plans. The waiver for landscaping we are asking for the duration of the project. And then we're also asking for the waiver of the fire truck turnaround, which this is very similar to the 21 Elm Street project where the lot is so small. And if there's a fire on site, the fire truck's not going to pull down into the lot anyways. if that building's on fire, they're gonna park in the street, hook up to the fire hydrant that's right there and take care of it. And like everything else that happens in downtown Goffstown, they'll redirect traffic. No one's getting a fire truck down that driveway if the house is on fire. And I believe
They
there's
might wanna
adequate room
bring
on.
the aerial truck down there, though. It's a 3-story building.
So you're telling me they're gonna bring the aerial truck down there? Have they ever used that in town?
Mike, we don't, I'm not gonna entertain that question, Mike, because that is a question we don't have the answer for, and I find it unprofessional for you to insult him
not
by
insulting
making that
anybody.
comment when he made a valid comment, that this is a 3-story house and we have an aerial unit for a reason. So please don't. Thank you.
And you're saying down there's only like 2 feet of difference from the road to the
No, my point is, if that structure's on fire, they're not gonna pull a truck right, $1 million truck right up next to it and park it there. I don't live in a vacuum, I'm not stupid.
Do we have fire department comments on this application, Joanne?
Yes, we do.
And did they make any comments regarding fire access?
They made comments concerning the driveway, that it does not meet section 8C11B, which is the 16-foot minimum width. The clear access shall be 20 feet wide. There shall be no obstruction within this clear fire access, including trees, utility poles, stone walls. And then they said the driveway surface shall be pavement, crushed gravel, nitpack, or other suitable material to support the fire apparatus during all weather driving. Turning radii on the driveway shall be a minimum of 25 feet on the inside curve, and an approved turnaround is required at the end of the driveway suitable for a fire truck to maneuver, which is what they're asking for a waiver for.
Did they comment specifically on the waiver request? It doesn't look like it
No.
was on that.
Were they aware of the waiver request?
Well, they had the full,
They made a comment based on the
Application.
plans they saw.
Yeah.
That's,
Not
well,
any-
no, I understand, I'm just bringing that up.
So since this isn't going tonight, we should reach out and specifically ask about that.
See if
There,
See if they support the waiver.
yeah.
I can understand your request for the fire truck turnaround, Mike, because it would be impossible to create a turnaround on site. However, access to the site is a small issue in terms of width of the driveway, and the fire truck would then be required to back out, which they can back out of a driveway.
Yeah, I get
So
somebody to
we
flag
would
for it.
have to get fire department comment before we can discuss this any further. Okay? All right, Mike, thank you. Can you continue, please?
No, I'm done. Well, we'll let the abutters talk and then you guys can figure out what you wanna do.
Okay. So, let me get home. I'm done.
That driveway issue that I brought up does require a conditional use permit if you're gonna grant, or if you're going to allow that reduction in the separation, so.
So we don't have that information yet, right? We need to ask him to
He
submit
did
the
not
information.
submit that.
Okay,
he didn't submit the paperwork
okay,
for
great.
that.
Okay. So at this time, we'll open the public hearing. We will accept comments from the public and enter them into the record, but we do not have an exchange with the public and discuss the comments. Your comments are entered into the record, and then the board would entertain discussing them later on in the process. Okay? So anybody would like to speak, come on up and give us your name and address for the record, please.
Did everyone hear what he said?
I think I speak pretty loud.
We're
Just
just
checking.
here for information on it. We're not
Okay.
really butters within Sudeca, and we just thought we'd come down and
Okay.
try to listen to what's going on.
My favorite
Admire
place.
you guys, by the way.
So is nobody here to speak tonight at this time? You can reserve comment for a later meeting. Anybody? Last chance? We'll close the public hearing.
You'll be coming back to this in August, is that?
Yes.
We'll have a date certain when things get figured out.
Sure.
So let's talk about the waivers without voting on
You
them.
can stay, it's not ready, it's not done yet.
Oh.
They're still gonna talk about it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Mike, would you please come back up to the table, sir? We're going to talk about your waivers. Could you explain why you're asking for a drainage study, Regulation Appendix C waiver?
It's only for acceptance, we've prepared that. That has been completed to the town standard.
So it's in the process of being finished.
It is finished, it's just not submitted to Scott because of the engineer's death in the family. I only
Okay,
got
so
it yesterday.
if they're going to submit it to you, why is a waiver being asked for?
They requested the waiver. They submitted this whole package a while ago, and I gave them a little bit of pushback on not submitting one, and basically told him I wouldn't support the waiver, like I wouldn't give my support to the waiver request to this board, so he decided to just move forward with doing one instead of requesting the waiver. So this was part of his original submission, and since then he submitted the one that was only the 25-year, and then now they're finishing up or have finished the one that should meet.
So are you withdrawing your drainage study waiver at this time, Mike? Or are you leaving?
That's basically been withdrawn, but we felt that we would ask it for acceptance purposes only because Scott has not had a chance to review
Okay,
it.
I understand now.
Just to keep it moving forward.
You talked about the landscape plan briefly. Does the applicant plan to do any landscaping around the proposed duplexes as part of the process?
I would imagine so that, so on sheet 2 of the TF Moran plans, sheet 3, you'll see an iteration of the drainage on the east side of the property on the south side. The only area that can really be landscaped and improved would be the area between duplex unit 1. I'm sorry.
What sheet are you on?
I'm on sheet 3 of TF Moran. Plan set.
It's in the big plan set,
Yeah.
Phyllis.
Yeah, we got it. All right, we're with you now, Mike.
Okay, so, the tree line that is shown on the plan is based on the actual survey, field survey. And if you've driven by the site and looked back down in, you can see the perimeter is heavily vegetated. In fact, if you stand up in the road and look down through that cedar hedge that's there into Sudeca, all you can see is from like 2 or 3 feet off the ground down to the ground level. You can't see the windows in Sudeca, and likewise they can't see up to the road. So the only area I think that's left to do any landscaping would be between the proposed duplex unit 1 and the south end of the existing building where that brick walk is and the old foundation of the barn. That still remains. Depending upon the fire truck thing, if we have to try to get that in there, there's not gonna be anything left for landscaping. So,
How about the areas where you're pulling out the old pavement, Mike? If you have edge of pavement marked for the existing residents, is that area going to be, pull that pavement out and it's going to be loamed and seeded, I'm assuming?
yeah,
So we
that's,
could see some landscaping at the entrance there on either of the two sides, if it wouldn't
back a
interfere
little
with
bit.
sightline, obviously.
Correct. And as far as the driveway goes, it's on the outside of the curve. It actually increases the sight distance looking west. And east, actually, if people are gonna turn right, that doesn't really change a lot, because that's the straightaway in front of the funeral home, towards the roundabout. So sliding that driveway easterly increases the sight distance looking back towards Cumberland Farms.
Okay.
So there can be some landscaping in the front areas. Low landscaping, something that's gonna be not crushed by the snow plow. The snow that gets pushed back at 30 miles an hour flies onto that part of the lot.
Yeah.
I'm not a landscape architect, so I don't know what would be suitable for that area, but I'm sure we can look at something, depending upon the driveway situation. If we do have to use the existing entrance and reconfigure that driveway, we would just slide that landscaping to the east a little bit. So in terms of a full landscaping plan, I guess that's the waiver we're looking for, because again, this is, the two sides of the property are fully mature landscaping. And the construction that's gonna take place on site isn't gonna affect any of that. We've kept all the grading outside of that tree line. And, so,
Okay, Kimberly?
What is the waiver, what is the requirement and what is he asking the waiver for? Do we have specific landscaping rules for residential development, or is it just to provide a landscaping plan?
Because it's a multifamily, we do have the normal rules of the full-blown landscaping plan.
And that provides percentages of trees and
Correct.
shrubs and different things that have to
Yes.
be put in as part of the square footages that are
Yes.
appearing on the plan.
So he's asking for a waiver, but if you wanted to have him supplement some things, you could also include that.
so short of counting trees, and getting their diameter at breast height and making sure that they, meet your requirements. Basically, we're just asking for the waiver of the full landscaping plan, because the majority of the lot, especially up to the abutters, it's already heavily landscaped. Not to say that the applicant and owner is not gonna beautify, or is not willing to beautify certain areas, but the drainage on the easterly side and the southerly side pretty much takes away that, because now there has to be a drainage maintenance agreement, which is fine. So we're not gonna landscape that other than loam and seed. And the landscaping that would be up front, it's gotta be low and back from the road, so it doesn't interfere with sight distance or plowing snow. Not quite sure what is going to satisfy the board in that respect, but I don't think a full-blown landscaping plan that you would see on a project like the one off of Mill Street, I don't think that's required here.
Okay, on the infiltration area number 2, the tree line appears to go to the center of that infiltration area. Is that what does that represent? Does that represent overhang or
That's the overhang.
trees?
That's the overhang. And most of that stuff is the brush line. I have pictures of it actually, not with me, but the brush line's about 6 feet off the ground, 5 or 6 feet. The way it's been maintained. So the actual trees themselves are more located towards the lot line.
Mike, does the existing shed on the southern boundary get removed?
Yeah, that's actually a Connex box that is gonna be removed.
Phil?
No question. The existing
Yeah.
on sheet 2 shows, or actually, I think it's sheet 1 also. Yeah, sheet 1, the existing condition plan shows a fire pit. That fire pit exists now?
Oh, it was there at the time of the survey.
Okay. Now, question, it shows up on the other sheets, and I was looking at sheet 3, proposed duplex. It's right up looking down. I understand it's looking down, but is that fire pit planning to stay that close?
No, that's just a rock ring. That's.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, when they grub and clear this and get all the undesirables out, that's,
Okay, I was just because I saw that there, I was,
no, that's a good question.
okay.
I can add a note. I can add a note for the shed and for stuff like that, to be removed. Like a demolition note.
Yeah, because I think it's required to be, I think it's 25 feet from the building. That's why I was bringing it up.
Mike, do the infiltration areas have any overflow devicing in them, or are they designed to just not have any overflows?
No, there's an emergency overflow. There's a foot of freeboard per the rules, and I believe that about 2/3 of the way down the lot on the east side, you'll see a little rectangle that's full of stone symbols, and same thing on infiltration area 1 on the east end. That would be like an emergency level spreader.
Do you have updated plans in front of you?
I don't see that on this plan we got.
Oh, I'm sorry, my set
Your set has the,
is what I was
Okay.
given today, I apologize. Yes, there is.
Well, we'll need to see that as well.
Yeah, that will all be in the report that goes to Scott.
so back to the landscaping. I know one of the concerns is with the landscaping plan, it typically requires the owner to keep plantings there in perpetuity, basically. So is there a way that we can condition this plan that these screenings need to remain?
You can, as a condition of approval or as a condition of the waiver.
You know, if we're utilizing the existing screening as the landscaping, that way they can't come in and just, you know, cut all the trees down once the plan's said and done.
No, that's fine, I know the client's he's not gonna do that, and he's certainly.
And it'll just be that, you know, if they do cut stuff down, they'd need to replace it with some sort of screening,
Yeah, he's amenable
It's
to
it's up to the board to
But
decide.
you see,
if that's what
that's
they
such
want
an
to do.
open-ended statement that I would never agree to that.
Okay, I just,
If you cut it down, you need to put some sort of screening. If you don't specify what the screening is, it's a moot point, 'cause we already have that going on another job somewhere in town. Kimberly, did you have something that you've been
No, so I
holding in?
was just curious, so Mike, what you're saying is that infiltration basin, that's not tree removal. So as shown, it looks like there's overhang into the infiltration basin, but what you're presenting is that there's not gonna be vegetation removal for that infiltration basin.
Maybe just cutting back some of those wispy branches that keep coming out to the sun, but no tree removal.
It's hard to tell without a plan.
I can submit pictures that show, we have a lot of pictures that show what that looks like.
It just feels like we're trying to jump through a lot of hoops for something that we normally require. I'm not sure why we can't just require it.
I was gonna ask Tim and Joanne, when the last time we have done a landscape waiver, because ever since I've been shown up here, I don't think we ever have skipped over a landscape waiver we have made.
We've given landscape waivers in the past if the vegetation on the site, in the opinion of the board, was satisfactory to provide screening from neighbors and such. Because that's the whole purpose of a landscape plan, is to provide screening. I don't necessarily think the applicant should have to provide screening across the front of the property so that people on Mast Road can't see the building. So it's a discussion item, is are we going to accept the tree line around the perimeter? And Mike, what's represented on the back line between the RSBO one and the residential? What do those pictures mean?
That is an arborvitae hedge.
Okay,
They're about 30 feet tall.
okay.
And,
I didn't know what they were.
And the way they were planted and designed from the Sudeca development is they form a wall.
And are they on the applicant's lot and not on the Sudeca lot? Or
Well,
is that
this-
just kind of the way they're
The
drawn?
Sudeca lot was part of this lot,
Okay,
so when that was built, they just planted them what they thought,
okay.
where they thought the lot line was, and they meander across the line, back and
Yep,
forth.
that's fine. I just didn't know about it.
If I remember correctly, they still look pretty healthy too, right?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
very much so.
Right, this has all been broached, subjects have been broached, people can think about it, and we have another upcoming meeting, post the historic meeting, to finalize things with the applicant, unless anybody else has anything else for enlightenment for the applicant from board members.
Good question.
Go ahead.
Mike, you said with the new building, the impervious area was at 15%.
The building coverage is at
Building coverage.
15.56%, yeah. I will add on the zoning table what we actually provide for building setbacks, coverages.
Well,
Yeah, you have the maximums listed, but for the zoning district on sheet 1.
Yeah, we should have listed what the actual coverage with the new structure is.
let me ask a question of the board here. Would the board members like to see some evidence on any of the plans in locations where the applicant is going to commit to planting a street tree or two or something, and then be able to consider a landscaping plan waiver? In other words, if we were to consider the waiver, if the applicant showed on the plan where they would do some plantings to soften the appearance. I mean, they show 3 trees, 2 of them are definitely going to go away. The third one, the peach tree, is right on a grade break on a line. It might survive, pretty close to the foundation.
I don't know, that's it's like 2, 4,
No, those
6,
are-
8 feet below grade now.
Yeah.
Oh, the grade's coming up in there?
Yeah, it's going.
I
up
didn't
there.
do that.
Yeah.
Can I just counter that?
Please.
So I just feel like we've spent 20 minutes discussing something that could have been done with a landscaping plan. And I understand we like to, help the applicants wherever we can, but that's the purpose of why we have rules and regulations and processes, is that we can come in, we can look at it, everybody's clear on what's being proposed, and we move on. And I just feel like we're doing a lot of bending over backwards to try to fit something that's just part of our requirements. If we had a landscaping plan, we could look at it, say yes or no, and move on. So I would not support a waiver. I'd like to see a landscaping plan.
Okay, thank you.
I tend to agree with her. Also.
So we haven't voted on it, but it sounds like a landscaping plan is something to be considered. It may not meet the full measure of the requirement for the number of trees and shrubs, but it would give the board some confidence that something will be done other than just to rely on the trees on the outside. Does that sound
Well,
about right?
we'll take a look at what it specifically says in the ordinance, and if we have to go out and count trees and make sure that we meet your standards, then we will.
John, what does the ordinance say? What does the regulation say?
For a landscaping plan?
Yeah, because Mike just made a comment that he were going to count trees. Now, is that part of the
Well,
verbiage in our landscaping requirements?
it says, I don't have word for word in front of me, but it says that you can take those trees into consideration, the existing trees or the existing bushes.
What's
or
in the
whatever.
development regs or the zoning?
So,
It's in zoning, but
What page are you on, Scott?
I'm trying to figure out where it is.
it's up to the board whether they would like to see what's actually required.
Landscaping.
Oh, wait, no, landscaping is in the
Development.
development.
Oh,
It's like, I don't see it.
Yeah, landscaping's on page 29, in section 6. Somewhere in section 6. Okay. Standards are appendix F. Well, Mike's going to carefully read our appendix and see what it says. So we all know we have it, and Mike's going to review it and see what he comes up with, and we'll go from there.
And the same holds true for a lighting plan. He didn't mention anything about lighting. We're not sure if he's adding additional lighting anywhere on the site, or sometimes like the one on, is that Mountain Road? Recently, the one up near Knollcrest.
Isn't that part of the TRC meeting? Isn't
Well,
that-
it's discussed, but this, I can't remember if they talked about that at this particular meeting. But what I was going to say was that they said they were only adding a few lights, and I don't know if you remember, but they had a few additional poles that they had added for that one. The one on the corner of Knollcrest and Mountain, it was that brick building. So they may provide a lighting plan, but it may not be exactly as required, so that would require a waiver as well.
Mike, is this going to be a are you proposing drive-under garages or grade garages? Garages at grade.
Garage is at grade.
So you're going to raise the lot 6 feet, 7 feet, something like that, with fill to get it up in the air, right?
The finished floor of the structures at 308, and the lowest grade at the back of the building is 305, so it's 3 feet.
3 feet. So the lot's coming up 3 feet just to make finished floor. And then
Well, we
you-
have to do that to create,
Oh, these are 1 foot.
for the drainage too. So we gotta get sheet flow into the drainage. So, yeah.
And you have to get pitch for your sewer line as well?
Yes.
I know it's not really brought up much at planning, but the sewer ordinance states that applicants that want to create a new sewer have to go to the sewer commission and get permission from the sewer commission that there is sufficient capacity in the system to support more structures. So I would encourage you to contact the sewer department and get on the agenda for the sewer commission to get the,
It was one of my
That's
comments, so he
included.
has that.
well,
Just,
they have not been to the sewer commission yet.
yeah, that's why I mentioned it. I asked
And-
Corey, I sent Corey the plans too.
It also requires the same for the water precinct, village water.
So Mike, if you, I just want to go back to what I was asking. You're going to raise the grade approximately 3 feet on the land itself, and then put a 3-story building from there up. I think landscaping is going to be a critical part of this project, because it is going to be a very tall structure for,
Well, it's also 100 feet off the road, but it's not going to be any taller than the house that's there.
okay, I'm not arguing with you, I'm just saying that's
No,
another,
that's saying it's
something to
minimum.
consider, that because it's going to be a 3-story structure, it's going to be very, very evident, and if the landscaping would look good.
That's it, right? Oh, was that the?
Anybody else have anything for the applicant at this time?
No, but Tim, it does look like there are a requirement based upon square footage for the number of trees or shrubs.
Yes, there's a whole table.
Right. A formula.
Now, applicants have come in the past and asked for less than the amount on a landscaping plan. We can reduce it by voice vote at a meeting. So if Mike was to bring in a landscaping plan to satisfy the requirement, it wouldn't have to be a full-scale plan because he does have credits for the other trees and stuff on the site. It would, but at the very least, it would be in line with the regulations.
Yeah, and there's specifics about what can be counted as existing trees.
Mike's gonna read it, he'll figure it out. He knows how to
I do know how to read.
read, thread the needle,
See, Tim vouched for you. There you go.
get the board. Okay, anything else? We can move on?
Let's move on.
Well, I have one question. Did you ever vote on completeness?
Yeah, we had a vote on it.
Yeah.
I don't have that down. You should,
We accepted as complete?
We made a motion by Kimberly and seconded by Tim to find that this was complete ready review, no regional impact, and waivers for discussion only. And the motion was made, passed by a voice vote, unanimous.
okay, thank you.
I
Kimberly,
think I second.
Kimberly and Tim, right?
Yep.
If you seconded, you're
She
third.
even said Phil seconded it. That's okay.
I'll put Phil Devanza
Don't worry
down
about
for third. You thirded it.
Roll the tape back.
It doesn't matter, who cares?
It's irrelevant.
Dave?
I'm going to chime in with my views on the landscaping plan.
Okay.
I'm basically satisfied with a complete waiver of the landscaping plan, but I do have one concern. If the construction of your infiltration basins are going to severely cut into the root system of a standing tree, then, you know, that
No,
tree
because
might just...
basically it's that grade.
So,
We're building berms up.
so the infiltration...
Okay, you're not cutting it into the earth, you're building it upwards.
We're cutting in,
The infiltration basins are being built up then.
the bottom of the infiltration area that's at the rear of the lot is basically going to scrape off the loam
Yeah,
and put in select material, and then everything else is built up. There's no real cut.
okay.
And I believe that
Where's the 304?
at this scale, that area is about 11 to 12 feet off those trees. And I don't think that they're root, because those balls build up.
That won't bother everybody.
No.
If there were
The 304 contour is here. and here.
trees on the
Calling
eastern
that a
boundary,
buffer.
that's also an infiltration area.
Correct. And that, again, that's built up. That's,
Okay.
the upper edge, towards the road, that's about 1.5 foot cut. But on the lower edge, it's only a 6 inch cut.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike.
Okay. Anybody else?
Can you just make a motion to continue the application to August 13th?
Make a
make a
motion, make a motion, we continue the application to August 13th.
18, 26.
13, 8, 13.
8:13.
Oh, 13, sorry. And who made the motion, Tim?
I did.
Who seconded it? Bill Devanza?
I haven't heard any.
No, you want it.
You'll have to get a hold of Derek.
Did you second it?
Sure, I seconded it.
Historic District agenda.
Okay, motion to continue this to August the 8th, 13th. I'm gonna write the right number down, 13 of 26. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Joanne, could you tell us if the second application under new business is complete and ready to be heard? Is that what we're looking at here?
Yes, and it has 2 waivers.
Okay.
Well, I shouldn't say that. The whole application itself is a waiver, so there's 2 waivers to vote on.
Map 34, lot 59. Billy, would you please make the subsequent motion?
I make a motion that we find the application complete and ready for discussion for tonight. It has no regional impact, and there will be discussion of 2 waivers.
Second.
I heard you that time, Phil.
Okay.
Lighten up, Phil.
It's 18 this time.
Don't be such a grouch.
It's light. It is a very light plan.
Okay, we have a motion to find this application is complete, ready to review, no regional impact, and 2 waivers for discussion only. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes. Joanne, did you get that one?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, Joanne, could you tell us about this application, please?
Okay, so this property is located on West Union Street, and they are requesting 2 additional parking spaces. So there's their land, a portion of their land already has an existing driveway, and then there's land off to the side of the driveway that they've been using for parking for, I think they had said 30 years. However, it's basically sort of a grassy area. They would like to incorporate that area into their driveway so that they have a wider driveway than what is allowed. So the waivers are listed on, this is no page number, but it's the second page of their, it's the third page of their application. So the town is putting in new sidewalks over there, and we've had a few other applicants come in for similar issues. So the 2 parking spaces, they have a tenant in their building, and the 2 parking spaces have been used by the tenant. And they're looking to be able to maintain those spaces. If you go further into the application, the driveway permit is there, and they had, the DPW department had to deny it without the planning board's approval. And then, I don't know why these pages aren't numbered, but there's a sketch that shows the layout of the existing driveway with the spaces that they're currently using. So each space is 10 foot by 18, and then the driveway itself is 10 feet by 38 feet. So all together, the whole opening would be 30, I think it's 30 feet, where 30 feet, where only 22 width is allowed at the right-of-way. So that's why they need 2 waivers. One is for the driveway to be closer than 10 feet from the property line. They only have 2 feet from the property line. And the other is for the width of the driveway at the right-of-way opening.
Okay. Board members, questions for staff?
Joanne, so This application is really being driven by the fact that a sidewalk's gonna go in. The sidewalk will have a defined curb cut.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Because-
unless nothing happened, that curb cut would only satisfy the existing driveway.
Correct, they've been parking there all along
Well,
because
that's not the issue.
there was no driveway, I mean, there was no sidewalk before, so they just drove right out.
There is sidewalk.
There is, you can see it in here.
Yeah.
It
Been
was
driving
asphalt.
over this.
It is
Oh, it's
driving over the sidewalk.
Small sidewalk,
And
Oh, it's an
because,
old paved
But
sidewalk.
the new sidewalk would have
If you look
Curb-
here.
curbing.
curb cuts, so that's why they're asking
Grass
for it,
strip.
because they're not gonna be able to just drive up over the sidewalk anymore.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and
It's just
this,
an asphalt
this project,
sidewalk.
I'm not even sure where it stands right now. We don't even have the design complete. We know it's a forthcoming project, but we don't have a timeline on it right now either.
Not
So
this year.
The neighbor, it's definitely
It's
not
not
this
this
year.
year.
I don't think it's up for next year either. It's just, you know, we've kind of fallen behind over the last couple of years. And the neighborhood has just got wind of the project, and they're all trying to get ahead of it, so that they're, you know, set up for when we come through.
Within the last 6 months, all the telephone utility poles have been moved back.
Yeah, they moved them without consulting the town. And then we met with them and weren't happy with the location, so they moved them back. And
They moved them back to where the originals were?
no, because we're actually getting rid of the grass strip. The sidewalk's gonna be on curb now.
So it's gonna come out,
I think,
and the
I
poles are
think they only
back
had to
there.
move a couple of them from where they moved
When are
them
they
to.
in?
Because there's a picture here.
When are we going to start installing sidewalks with a grass strip so that the snowplow and the sidewalk tractor don't fight each other, pushing snow back and forth from the sidewalk onto the road and the road onto the sidewalk? This is something DPW needs to address. If we have a grass strip, we should keep it and pave us, and do a sidewalk behind the grass strip. Phil?
Yeah, but I think we've had this issue in Bernardville in a few places where you don't have, the town doesn't have the right of way.
Yeah.
And I was gonna ask a question of Scott, because on the sketch, I understand it's not to scale, but it shows 18 Union Street, it shows the sidewalk down here, and look at the width of the sidewalk on the sketch. And now look at the 18 by 10 foot parking spaces. I don't,
Yeah, it's just not the
my
scale.
question to Scott was, how wide from the curbing going towards the sidewalk is going to be the width?
6 feet. The new sidewalk will be 6 feet when it's completed.
Okay, so just to
And
get an
that's part of the
idea
issue
of
with that, is it's a
proportion,
very narrow sidewalk today.
well, to get an idea of proportion, if it's 6 feet and these parking spaces are 10 foot wide, it's substantially different than what's depicted on this drawing, if you take that into consideration. I'm just bringing that up when you look at it, that's all. But I mean, I understand Tim's point, the grass curbing, but is there enough room there in right of way? Probably not.
I mean, it'd be pretty narrow to make that sidewalk 6 feet and then keep the grass strip.
Are they proposing to rip up the existing sidewalk too, and then basically pave all the way up?
I believe so.
They have to pave all the way out to the road.
Yeah.
They have to.
Because part of the reason that we require the paving is to protect the edge of the town's road.
Right.
So we require paved apron on gravel driveways, and in this case, this is
All right,
existing gravel driveway, existing, it was never permanent.
let the applicant speak and we can discuss the application. I just wanted to get a few questions out for staff. I didn't want to go into a full-on applicant discussion of the application.
I just want to say something before he shows up. It's my wife's uncle that's applying to this, so I'll probably be abstaining from the vote.
This is a family member to you?
Yeah.
So you need to go sit down in the audience then if you're going to abstain.
It's a recusal.
Do we have a quorum?
Yeah, we got enough one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, still.
I could have helped you.
Okay. Now that we've weeded you out of the factory. Okay, so, you need your name and address for the record, sir.
My name is Richard Plant, and I live at 18 West Union Street.
18 West Union. So you have, your home is your home and you have apartments, is that what these extra
There's-
parking spaces?
We live
are for?
upstairs, and there's an apartment downstairs that we rent.
And you have, then they have 2 spaces and you have the main driveway or
Well-
something, whatever?
Yeah, my wife parks her brand-new Jeep in the barn, so I can't be behind her. So
Well,
I
that might
park
be a
in one of
problem.
the spots, and my tenant parks in the other spot. It used to be a gravel driveway, so,
Okay,
at one point. Then the grass grew in.
okay. Anything else you'd like to add to the record? for-
I'm a little confused.
Go ahead.
Because I got the plan for the lot plan.
Okay,
I don't know if you guys have this.
yep, we have that.
Okay, it already shows the driveway there.
And you're saying it shows the driveway, that you show 2, that, I don't know what that means.
So this is created off aerial imaging.
Okay.
And it'll take, basically, I'm pretty sure it takes just AI to kind of sketch things out. And I believe Eric looked back through old aerials and this kind of appeared over time. And the fact that you've been driving over the sidewalk also indicated to us that it wasn't like an actual driveway, which is, although this appears on this is from the GIS, this isn't
Yeah.
like surveyed, anything. So because of this, the condition of the sidewalk, the fact that the sidewalk's there and we'll call it the grass panel, but I don't think
Yeah.
there's
There is none.
The sidewalk's about this wide.
Yeah, it's not wide on that.
Dirt on
street.
each side.
Yeah, the utility pole is right in the middle of them.
Well, no, that's over on the other side of the driveway.
So,
That's what I want to
yeah, the GIS
I
isn't
want to challenge
a good representation of really,
So we're on the same.
it's a ballpark figure. I live in town and the GIS shows my neighbor's driveway on my property and it's not, so that's how inaccurate it is.
Okay, anybody else? So I personally don't like this because you're creating this massive frontage which we don't allow. So we'd be creating a non-conforming situation here. What is our maximum allowed driveway at this point, Scott?
22 of the right of way,
22.
so it'd be 8 feet wide.
I would like to see an alternate plan, some sort of alternate plan for this, personally, not the board, that you add another driveway alongside the one to the barn, and then you make a turning motion and park more on your property, but not have the 30 feet of opening, because we don't allow it, and I think there's alternatives to this. If you had no alternative, then maybe the waiver would be, your request would be in line, but you have alternatives, and I'd like to see something other than what you're showing us to view as a possible alternative to this 30-foot wide driveway. That's me. And I have other board members who can speak.
I'll pick up on that theme, Tim. Mr. Plant, the possible and alternative would be a driveway parallel to your existing driveway, but further deeper, so you'd have two cars deep.
Okay.
Yes, you would always be shuffling one car.
I mean, like driveway and then another driveway.
I'm also concerned
Certainly.
about, that drawing, the boundary lines are not definitive at all, so how do you know that what you're proposing is 2 feet from the boundary line? How do you know where your boundary line is?
I don't know, the beech tree left a long time ago.
See, so there's,
What I'm suggesting, sir, is where your first proposed parking space is listed as a 10 by 18, that you ask us for that, and then you would have some way to go into your property, and then your vehicles would turn, and they'd be pulled over to the edge line, and have the wider driveway over to your property line on your land,
22 feet.
but not at the
From
road
here to
per
here is
se.
20 feet.
And try to limit your
Within 20 feet.
curb cut to 22 feet, which you wouldn't need a variant, you wouldn't need anything for it. You could do all that and stay within the regulations, and you wouldn't have to even be here with us. Because if you had a 22-foot wide driveway, right, Scott? Proposes a 22-foot wide driveway?
Something like that.
Well, he can do whatever he wants, it's up to him. But I'm saying,
22 with the right of way.
if you have a 22-foot wide driveway at the right of way, you never have to come back and see us again. Because you can just do it.
And you'll probably be more than 10 feet from the property line.
You would be more than that. You'd have to.
The only
keep it-
problem is this part goes.
Well, I'm just saying there are alternatives to this. And I personally would like to either see an alternative if you're going to continue to ask for a waiver, but you wouldn't need a waiver if you were able to, and as I look into the picture here, go into the site towards the garden and then make it so two cars could do this and then park side by side and then squeeze back to the neck and use the driveway to get out.
That was my alternative.
Well, I think that's a good alternative, avoids the planning board,
Okay.
and you stay within the regulations.
Could even angle the cars in.
That's up to them to
Yeah.
figure out what they want to do.
Okay.
And you wouldn't give up hardly any of your garden space. I don't see the garden space going away.
Yeah. it's
Maybe
not-
you'd like
It's not mine.
your wife's garden space,
Yeah.
but I'm sure she don't want to give it up, so there's gotta be a way to get in and out of that lot with a legal curb cut of 22 feet.
Okay.
And I would encourage you to try and do that, because I don't like a 30-foot wide entrance, and I wouldn't probably vote for it because there are alternatives to it.
Okay.
Anybody else? I'm not the only person on this board, I wish somebody else would speak up.
I agree with everything you're saying.
Thank you.
I'm gonna disagree with you just because I want to.
Go ahead.
No, I think you could definitely do it within 22 feet and get enough cars on there. So I probably would investigate that for sure.
Okay.
So at this point, board members, I would ask board members what we'd like to do here tonight. Do we want to continue this to another meeting if this applicant would like to withdraw it at a later date? Or if you would like to come back with something else, we leave you open to that and not paying any extra fees or anything like that. So we would just continue your application tonight or vote tonight to deny it if that's what the board wants to.
Well, it gives them the option.
I'm trying to give the man some options
Right.
without saying no tonight.
Okay, so if I go 22 feet, which would be the driveway and...
The existing
12
driveway plus whatever you need,
And then I can do this, and I don't need permits for that?
you need a permit from the DPW, but you don't need planning board permission for that.
Right.
Because you would fall within the
And
DPW
To
regs.
make that third parking spot, you'd probably still be closer than the 10 feet to the neighbor's driveway, so you'd still need that relief from this board.
I wouldn't do that. I'd leave this application open, and if you wanted to come in and ask for the 10 feet of relief at a later date after you submit drawings and work with DPW,
Okay.
that could stay open and we could discuss letting the driveway be closer to the sideline at 10 feet,
Yeah, so you still
further
have
into
to-
the lot.
The regulated width would be met, but then you might need relief from the neighbor's property line. If you come in at 22 and then widen, you might be closer than that 10 feet. I don't know, just.
Gotta go out and
looking at
measure
the
it and see what he's
sketches.
got.
Yeah. I think you've been working with Eric pretty closely,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. He'll be able to tell you what you've got, I think.
I think Eric will bring over a can of paint and some tape measures, and you guys can paint it on the grass and see what it looks like and see where you are.
There you go.
I don't think it's gonna be, well, paint it on the dirt in this case.
Is that something that would be amenable to you, Mr. Plant?
Pardon me?
Would that be amenable to you to take that path?
Mm-hmm.
So let's do this, let's leave your application open, and we'll continue it to a date certain, which means in a couple of weeks or a month, or whatever you prefer. You work with DPW to try to come up with a compliant entry, and if you need to ask for relief on the sideline, we can bring that up at another meeting and discuss a waiver at that point, based on a plan you would submit to us showing what you want to do.
Sounds good to me.
Good to you, Mr. Plant?
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your patience.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
How long do you want to wait,
I can do it next meeting.
next meeting?
Yeah, August 13th.
You'll have
It's
time to
up to
meet?
Eric, so.
I would give it a month.
Yeah,
I would give it a month, that way you'll have time to meet with DPW, you can work on a sketch, get it written down, and if there's any details you need to work out, because unless you want to get this done tomorrow morning, I mean, you can still park on the dirt in the meantime.
I make a
Oh,
motion,
thanks.
I make a motion to extend, to continue the waiver for a month from now.
Continue the application,
So what date's that, Joanne?
I think it's the
What date?
9th of July.
what is it?
I believe it's the 9th.
That'll be a great night for it to happen because Eric will be here in my place, so. So he'll
To
be able.
7/9/26. So Eric, who's going to work with you on this, hopefully, will be here representing Public Works that night. So if there's anything to be spoken about, he'll be right here to speak in further.
Excellent.
That work for
So
you?
just get a hold of him and then I'll be on the docket and
You'll be on the
Yeah,
docket for
we're not-
July the 9th, under old business.
I'll bring him up to speed tomorrow morning or let him know what
Tim,
was decided. and
there's not a
he's
second.
reaching out, so.
all right.
Joshua made the motion, who seconded it?
Nobody?
second.
Bill Devanza.
There we go. Okay.
He's getting ready to say motion to adjourn.
It's already on his
We
list.
got one more.
We got one more plus.
Okay, any discussion on the motion? So the motion is to continue this application till July the 9th. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes. We'll see you on July the 9th, hopefully.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Plant.
Thank you.
Thank you, be good.
All right, now you can come back to the table.
Thanks for the help. Yeah. Hey, anytime, next time, you know?
Next time we know to immediately eject him.
That's it.
Okay, we are moving on to the next new application. I'll find it, all right. Map 9, lot 3611. Is this application complete and ready to review, Joanne?
Yes, and with no regional impact.
No regional impact?
No regional impact.
Do you want to make a motion?
Yeah, I'm hoping someone,
I make a motion that we find the application complete for review for this evening, no regional impact and no waivers, is that correct?
No waiver.
No waivers.
okay, so there are no waivers.
Second.
I'm just checking. Who seconded it?
I did.
Jim? All right, motion to find this complete, ready to review, no regional impact, no waivers. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes. We can begin. Joanne, could you tell us what's going on here?
Yes, so this house is located on Blackbrook Road, and they are looking to revise some of the portions of the structure. There is currently a residential house, and the applicant is proposing to convert an existing deck into living space consisting of approximately 224 square feet. They would also add a screened porch and a deck, both of 312 square feet. And this portion of this addition would infringe into the outer 50-foot portion of the wetland, or in this case, surface water and wetland. So both the brook, which would be the surface water, and the wetland itself would have an impact, small impacts, 12 feet altogether. There should be a drawing in your packet. You all have, and there's one on the
There's actually
table
one
too,
on the
there's a
table.
larger one. They did submit information from RCS Designs, and they are addressing the actual environmental impact of this project.
Okay? It's in the packet?
It's in the packet.
Yeah.
And it is stamped by a wetland scientist, and there's some photos in there as well. There are no comments from DPW, no comments from assessing, fire, police. We do have comments from, excuse me, the Conservation Commission that they recommend the planning board grant relief of the outer 50-foot of the 100-foot wetland surface water district buffer, as they feel it is a reasonable change and the applicant is taking the appropriate measures to minimize the impacts. And there is a recommendation with some conditions listed for the approval. I'd like to recommend that numbers 7 and 8 be removed. We don't need them for this particular application.
I don't think we need AutoCAD files of this either.
Okay.
Do we have the comments from the Conservation Commission? Because I only see a very short recommendation. Doesn't say anything about what they stated.
What they stated is on page 13.
13. That's it? Reasonable change in applicants taking the appropriate measures to minimize the impacts?
That's the statement they made for the planning board.
That's all they're asking for?
Wow,
Okay, we'll talk about that later.
I was sleepy night.
Okay. All right. Any questions for staff from planning board members?
I have a question.
Phil, please.
I don't know if it means anything, but we have a letter from RCS Designs dated May 14, 2026, from 6 Circle View Drive from Berry, New Hampshire. And we have Department of Environmental Services letter to RCS Designs, PO Box 487, Bradford, New Hampshire. I'm assuming they're the same.
It looks like this is the data check tool that you submit to the state and you get a response and it tells you what species. There's
No, no,
a-
no.
I was talking about the fact that...
It's in the address.
Different addresses.
Well, this one,
Well, that's
the one
the-
to DS is a PO box.
No, I understand
Well,
that.
one's Bradford and one's Newberry, that's all.
They may have 2 different addresses.
Well, I just wanted to bring it
Well,
up to
the
the
PO
attention.
box may be
I'm
the
assuming
mailing
it's the
address,
same.
or the physical address is Newberry.
Okay.
Some small companies do that.
I'm not gonna worry about it, Phil.
No, I'm just bringing it to
Okay, thank you.
attention.
Gotcha. All right, anything else for staff from board members before I open the application to the applicants?
I'd say it's the most complete application tonight.
All right, would you like to come up and represent yourself and tell us what's going on here? We get your name and address for whoever's gonna speak in the beginning.
Sure.
And do it slow so I can write it down. I'm not like shorthand.
My name is Bob Stewart, S-T-E-W-A-R-T, English, not Scottish, Scottish, not English.
We won't hold either one of them against you.
Thank you. And I'm from RCS Designs, and that is 6 Circle View Drive. And I had that account with DES for a long time, so that's an older address. So thank you for bringing that up. I will make sure that I get that corrected. I have the owner, Julie, is here tonight, and the builder, Rick Martin, is here tonight from Sunset Builders.
Rick Barton?
Martin.
Sorry. Thank you. Please proceed.
So, as stated before, we're just looking for relief of the wetland buffer. I went out, there is an unnamed stream that comes from the northwest, comes in. The closest part is what I delineated. The current deck that is there now is going to be changed into a structure, part of the building. There is going to be an addition for a screen porch and then a deck. We went in front of the Conservation Commission last week or the week before last, and discussed, what we found out there. Basically, I think the biggest thing that we found was the data check from NHB, New Hampshire Heritage Bureau. Blanding's turtle hit, which is an endangered turtle, and they didn't state where it was, but it wasn't on this property. So the biggest thing there is during construction, you don't want exposed dirt and so forth, because especially if it's sandy material, that's going to attract the turtle and then may cause some problems for the turtle itself. The beauty about this is that this right here is a chain link fence that totally encompasses the construction site. And I had a discussion with Fish and Game, and they were very comfortable with that being the deterrent for the turtle. We also added on this arc that you see here, which is a silt sock. It's fairly flat here, but just in case we got some really heavy rain, that'll be in place before construction and will remain there until the site becomes stable. We're also putting in some drip line trenches to take care of that first flush of rain for infiltration and treatment, mostly treatment. I'm open for questions. Oh, we don't have any waivers, so that's a good thing.
That's a good thing. Board members? Scott, I'm going to ask you, Scott, we're seeing in drip line trench to handle stormwater from the new proposed screen porch. Does that satisfy what we would be normally asking applicants to do?
Yeah, we don't require these everywhere. This isn't a, large impact. A portion of this is being converted, so really it's an existing deck, which you would consider as impervious, the way it would concentrate water off site, so there's not a huge increase. So I think any BMP to help infiltrate is good.
So the proposed 12 by 16 screen porch, obviously it's going to have a roof on it. Is it all going to pitch to the front?
No, actually, this is incorrect on this plan. It actually is gabled this way, so it's going
So
to...
the gable's going to face the wetlands?
Correct.
Okay, so where you're showing your water drip line trench is completely inadequate.
So it'll be on the other two sides.
Right. One would be, we'd be collecting it with a gutter on one side and drip line trench on the other.
So the gutter side would be on the deck side?
Correct.
So I think that the drip line trench you're going to show, that you showed on their thing, it would be something we'd want to feed the gutter water into. So you can maybe do a shorter version of that to accept gutter water, rather than just discharge it directly onto the ground?
Or we could do a gutter dry well, which is very similar to that, which is, it's a little bit deeper.
I'd go for the less expensive of the two.
That would be a gutter dry well.
Really?
Yeah, it's not, the structure itself is just filter fabric and crushed stone.
Oh, okay.
How big is it? You're going to give the information to Scott on that?
3 by 5.
And depth?
16 inches, I believe, 16 or 18 inches. I'll get the details on that.
Pretty small.
Yeah.
Because if you were going to put a...
Very small. It's for that, for number one, the surface area of that roof, or half of that roof, is very small. But number two, that's only dealing for treatment. It's taking care of that first flush of rain that comes through to make sure that anything that collects on the roof is then treated before it leaves that immediate site.
Well, I would hope that the square footage for the drip drain you're going to install on the opposite side from the deck, whatever that square footage is for that one half of the roof, you would give at least the same amount of square footage for the drip drain for the gutter on that side too. Because if you need that much treatment on one side, I'd like to see equal treatment on the other side.
The only reason why it's being treated that much on the drip edge side that doesn't have the deck on it. The only reason why it's been treated that much is because that is the full length of the roof. So you want to be able to treat anything that drips down from the roof. So it's really, it's not really the amount of water that you've got coming there. It's for that first quarter of inch of rain. So that when it rains, anything that collects on the roof, dust, whatever it might be, is able to be collected into that and treated before it leaves the structure itself.
So does that mean leaves and twigs and everything else are going into that? When they get flushed down the downspout?
Yeah.
Because they will contaminate that eventually and.
Yep. Yeah, so the way that structure is made is you dig a hole, you lay filter fabric in it, you fill it with crushed stone up to about the last 4 to 6 inches, put a flap over it, place the top stone on it, and that way it leaves you enough room for maintenance.
Okay.
So you can rip that up, clean it out, put it back. It's typical for this typical structure for shoreline. We use them all the time, and it's on much larger roofs than this.
As long as the homeowners take care of it, that's the main function.
Like any of
Like
those.
anything.
Yeah, any stormwater management requires maintenance.
Okay.
Correct.
Or you'll have to show that on the subsequent plan for us. And then show us the relocated drip line trench as well.
Yep, we'll do that.
Anybody else?
Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to do that because I just realized with the drawings that was a gable end and not a shed roof, so.
Oh, well.
Right.
Okay. All right, anybody else? Kimberly?
Looking at the conservation measures, it's good to see that you have them on the plan, but I'd like to have seen the landing turtle flyer incorporated into the plans that you sent us and make sure that they're given to your contractor. So the notes are on there, but the DES landing turtle flyer, like identification flyer.
Yeah, sure.
We typically put those in this plan set, either on another sheet or in a corner somewhere.
Yeah, I can do that.
So I see that you have the location of the existing chain link fence shown on your plan.
Correct.
I see the picture in your packet. Is that all grass all the way in, is it all grass inside of the chain link fence?
Yes.
All right. That'll avoid another discussion. All good. Okay.
Oh my God. So is there a commitment that the chain link fence will stay, at least through construction? Okay. I'd like to, if that's not a plan note, I'd like to see that it's a plan note too. The chain link fence, because it's part of the conservation measures, that during construction, that the silt fencing is one thing, but then the chain link fence is like a second. Boy, you got off easy with landing turtles, so good for you.
Well, yeah, and
You didn't get beat up too bad.
that is another measure that has to be there, especially during construction.
Right, right,
Is that chain link fence, so you make a good point.
yeah. I reviewed the wetland functions and values, and I'm satisfied that, and I agree with what you said. So. I know, that's so pretty. Yeah, you're cutting trees near the stream?
No,
No? These
No.
steps, are those beaver?
I don't have beavers, no. I have all kinds of other stuff.
No.
You got a beautiful bobcat there.
I have a winter kitty.
Maybe they're old, but it looks like there's some trees that were cut along the stream edge.
Your picture
Oh,
shows
are you
stumps.
showing my neighbor who cuts my trees down?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know about
It's
that.
behind the chain link fence, so it seems like it's on your property, but maybe not.
It's in the packet in the RCS designs packet.
Because I'll be able to pick out whatever it is. What are we talking about here? Oh my God, that was a sapling about this big around that grew over the fence and was leaning on the fence, so yes, I did get that down.
You know, we're not the DES police, but cutting trees in that area is regulated, and it's not up to us to scold you.
On top of the fence.
It can do whatever it wants, but if it's in the wetlands, that tree is.
Is that the case? It's not shoreline.
This is
No, it's
not
not
shoreline,
Yeah.
Okay.
as long as it's
I
not
just
in the
know that
wetland.
I heard a comment
Yeah,
from another
it's-
applicant.
So shoreline's only for specific
Fourth order.
lakes.
Okay.
I don't cut any trees down, because I don't want to see my neighbor.
Well, okay. All right, board members,
So if we could ask that those notes and the details of the stormwater management be a conditional of approval, we'd appreciate it.
what's missing from this application, Scott?
What's missing?
Yeah, or who's telling us what's missing from tonight's application? Joanne?
So you wanted to add a note about the Blanding Turtle flyer. You wanted to put a note on the plan about that. And then you wanted to add a note that the chain link fence shall remain.
Through the limits of construction, through the
Period.
time period, thank you, of construction.
Is there anything that's not in the application that needs to be here tonight for a consideration for approval? That's all, everything
I
done?
was hoping I covered everything.
No, we're not missing anything.
We're not missing it?
No.
Well, I'm just trying not to act premature.
Joanne, he's gonna also show that it's a gable roof,
Oh, that's right, yeah.
adjust where the stone is, and then add the detail for the dry well.
Gutter drywall.
Gutter drywall.
So we don't approve, we grant relief, right? Or we
Yeah, we grant
we
relief.
grant relief. Sorry, Jim.
Well, I was just gonna make a motion. We
Not
grant-
yet. not
What
yet.
was the
Haven't opened
second
public
one,
hearing
Scott?
yet.
What's
The
that?
second one?
To include a detail for the gutter drywall.
No, I've got that one. The one before
Got to
that.
show the gable end on the
Gable end.
Yeah,
building.
and then the new location of the drip edge.
Yeah, I've got that. Okay, thanks.
So, I don't see anybody here, but I'm obligated to open the public hearing. It is 8:02. Anybody here to speak regarding this application? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. Board members,
And then we'll make a motion.
before you go any further, is the board members good with the staff administratively handling the items that are, needs to be added to the application tonight for approval?
Yes.
Everybody good with it?
Yes, we should make that part of the motion.
So who's going to make the motion? Tim, you are?
Yeah, I make a motion, we grant relief from the 50-foot wetland buffer, and we also make it the added conditions of approvals that we listed. What was it, Joanne? The gable, the remainder of the fence must remain, and the detail of the turtle,
The drip trench and the turtle flyer.
the drip tent, yeah.
Chain link fence, the gable
So those
roof.
4 conditions, right?
To be administered.
Well, there's actually more because some were already typed on the staff
And
report.
yes, on top, those 4 on top of the other
Okay.
condition
And then a
of
limit-
approval, and to make sure that staff
And
and
administrative.
DPW will be in charge of the rest.
Can we just pause that for a second? Can you read what's in the staff report? Just to
Yeah.
make sure we didn't have any concerns on those?
Note on the plan of the final written decision, including any waivers, conditional use permits, etc. Include appropriate professional stamps and signatures. Provide digital files. You don't want anything after that, right,
What are you going to
Scott?
leave off of that list yet?
Take away the AutoCAD.
Yeah, I don't need the CAD files. for that.
Okay. Review and determination that the plan does not exempt the applicant from obligation to meet all applicable required codes, including but not limited to building, electrical, health, safety, fire, etc. Review and determination that the plan does not exempt applicant from the obligation to meet all applicable required approvals and permitting, including but not limited to public utilities, wetland, shoreland, stormwater, New Hampshire DES, US EPA, US Army Corps of Engineers.
Okay, stop. I don't think we need to read all of them. I'm sorry. I was just trying to find out. These seem pretty standard. I was just curious if there's anything that we hadn't talked about that we needed to talk about, but it looks like these are all.
I don't think number 7's required, right? There shouldn't be any
No,
need to
7 and
report.
8 can go away.
Okay.
Perfect. I'll second the motion.
Okay.
All right, Jim, you have to read the findings of fact, so the application is complete and not challengeable.
The applicant has met all requirements under the development and zoning ordinance regulations. The subdivision complies
and the planning board recommends approval.
I think we should
Take away
fix that finding of
subdivision.
fact. Because
Yeah.
it's not correct. The
Relief of the outer 50
Wow.
the
feet.
request for relief,
Has been met.
Of the wetland conservation district buffer.
I'm gonna let Joanne read it into the record then after she gets done writing it,
Perfect.
for Tim's sake.
Yeah, I don't know, this is findings of fact, that's what we're doing.
Somebody boilerplated one here and didn't.
Applicant has met all requirements under the development regulations and zoning ordinance. The relief of the outer 50 feet of the wetland conservation district buffer complies, and the planning board recommends approval.
Thank you, Joanne. Is that good for you, Tim? Include that in your motion?
Absolutely. Read my mind.
Seconded by Joshua Douglas.
Correct.
Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion passes. Thank you, folks.
Thank you very much for your
Good job
time
on your
tonight.
report.
Excuse me?
Good job on the report.
Thank you. Can I get a copy of the staff report and an updated copy of the staff report with whatever conditions that came in tonight?
Sure
My
can.
email address, I think, is all over the...
Yeah, I have it.
Thank you, I appreciate
You're
that.
welcome.
You guys are all set with the digital file?
Yeah, we don't need
Send you
the,
a digital file is fine.
Yes, a PDF.
oh, yes, yeah.
A PDF would be great.
Just a PDF.
Yeah, I don't need paper.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll take it next, Tim.
Joanne has a correspondence and action items. She wants us to review the rules of procedure.
I read them last time. I'm actually okay with them, and I would love to actually leave a motion saying I'm okay with them if nobody has any
Joanne,
problems
did
with
you
them.
have anything that you wanted to bring up?
No, you had asked for the red line version. I only gave you the final version, so I found the red line version, and that's what's before you.
Is
It's the
anything
same.
different in the red line version than what we already discussed?
No.
I'll make a motion to approve the rules of procedure as presented.
I'll second that, but I had one, I didn't mark it though, I wish I did. It was just, I'm assuming what's crossed out is being eliminated and in the red, but it was where it mentioned the 4 land use boards. It's Article 14. The land use boards may be any or
It says
All.
all of the following.
Yeah, it should say of the.
I'll amend to approve that fix.
yeah, no problem. You've been seconded, if not, I second it.
Yep, you seconded it, read it.
Okay, there's a motion to recommend acceptance of the rules of procedure. It's seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes. Joanne, do you have any other business?
Yeah,
Yes.
there was a vote. Was there a bond?
There's a bond that
Tracking form?
is being posted by TMS Diesel. They would like to get into their new building and obtain the certificate of occupancy. There's a few things that are outstanding that they won't be able to do for a few weeks, so they are posting a bond in the amount of $94,324.43.
Review that number, Scott? Are you in concurrence?
Yes. I had them adjust a little bit, but good with the number. The striping will actually be done tomorrow, so it'll be done before they even request the C of O.
So,
So
no
their
issues?
fencing, their fencing contractor's a few weeks out. The light poles are going in soon, the plantings are going in next week, but I think they're looking for the C of O early next week, so they just wanted to make sure it was all covered.
Okay, any questions for Scott?
Phil said make a motion to approve. I'll second that.
You guys are quite a team.
We are. We're ready to roll. Because I know what the next one Phil is going to do, and I'm also going to second that one too.
Okay, there's a motion to accept the bond for TMS Diesel for outstanding items. Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion to adjourn.
Wait,
Second.
before you do that, I just have one question.
Hey, there's a motion on the floor.
Motion passes.
Next meeting is scheduled for June 25th. We have no applications. I didn't know if you wanted to finish up
Take your motion back so we can say no meeting on that day.
the development regulations. I wasn't clear at the end of the last meeting when we reviewed them. If you wanted Scott and I to just go ahead, put them in the final format, and then schedule a hearing, or if you wanted to see them one more time.
Was there anything that was outstanding that
No.
anybody knows about?
The only thing, Tim, that you stated is that you wanted other members of the board here before we moved on it.
And I wanted Barbara and to at least, because Barbara seems, has an opinion about a lot of that stuff, and I didn't want to move forward without her.
Do we know if she's going to be back at the next meeting?
She's not here tonight because she's taking care of her husband, that's all. But
Okay.
she's not gone, she's just unavailable for tonight.
Right, but do we know if she'll be available in June?
Joanne, how long we've been working on the development regulations?
A few years.
So what's another couple of weeks?
So a couple of meetings won't kill
That's
us.
on our schedule.
What I could do is, I could send them to Barbara while she's sitting home.
I think
She could take a look at them.
I think you should email planning board members or however you notify them. There will be a scheduled vote after the final discussion on a date certain, and you just put the date certain in. And if people fail to show up for the date certain vote, then they forfeit their right to
Agreed.
comment.
Well, can I make a suggestion?
Go right ahead.
If she mails a copy of, cleans up the copy that we voted on, mails it out to anybody, and date certain that it's gonna be discussed, and that you had it, if you don't, if you have any comments, to give them back to, send them to Joanne, and they'll be, and you're gonna miss the meeting, comments will be forwarded to that meeting, and we'll discuss it and we'll vote on it.
That sounds like a better plan.
I'm good with that.
So would this date certain be June 25th?
Or not the meeting that we can cancel without that. I'm not scheduling a meeting to talk about development.
Okay, so you want to cancel
Without
that
the
meeting?
July or whatever the next date is,
Late July.
July 9th or something.
So are we canceling that meeting? Tim?
I haven't done it yet.
You see, now, if we had approved the
Quit
rules
pushing
of
me.
procedure, we don't.
So we have, our next meeting is July the 9th, and we have a single applicant coming in to talk about his driveway on West Union Street. That's the only one so far, so I think the development regulations should go on that night. Okay? Do we need a motion to authorize me to sign this tracking form, Joanne?
No, they moved to approve it, so you can just go ahead and sign it.
Okay? Anything else from anybody?
Motion to adjourn.
I already wrote it down.
But did we cancel the meeting?
Yeah, did we cancel the meeting?
Yes. Before we vote on the motion, I am going to cancel the meeting for the second meeting this month with no applications. And the deadlines have passed for submission, Joanne?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's tomorrow, isn't it?
And so,
Technically?
No, it was last Friday.
That was the last one.
Yeah.
June 25th, 6th, 25th.
Yeah, I couldn't cancel it if it was tomorrow.
Oh, God.
So we are done with our business, Joanne?
Yes.
Okay, there's a motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstention, motion passes. GTV, we stand adjourned. Thank you.